Looking at this 2024 recruiting class, ranked number 2 or 3 in the country, depending on your service, how much do you credit and how impressive is it for you that Kalen DeBoer stepped in, was able to maintain this class? How much credit do you give DeBoer versus what Saban was able to put together before DeBoer took over?
You got to give DeBoer a ton of credit just due to a lot of kids now, they wanted to come to Alabama to be coached by Nick Saban. Not necessarily come because of the script A and the culture and the tradition and the pageantry of the program, but it had gotten to a point where, Mark, I just want to come to be coached by the GOAT, Nick Saban. I just wanted to come to be coached by him and to have him put me in the National Football League. And nothing wrong with that because of the pedigree that Nick Saban had built up throughout his tenure. But you got to give DeBoer credit because when Saban initially made his move to retire back on January 10th, a lot of guys left. A lot of guys left. Caleb Downs is like, hey, if Saban's not here, I'm out. Earl Little, he goes. Antonio Kite, he goes. Jake Pope, he goes. Isaiah Bond, he goes. So many names leave. And for Kalen DeBoer to sit there and say, hey, guys, I'm going to sell you on my vision. Don't jump ship. Believe in what I'm about to inject and instill into this program. And you kept a lot of your nucleus guys. You keep a Jalen Milroe. You keep a Tyler Booker. You keep a Jaden Roberts. You keep a Justice Haynes, a Jam Miller, a Richard Young. You keep a Kobe Prentice, a Kendrick Law, a Jalen Hale, a CJ Dupree. You keep a Deontay Lawson, a Jihad Campbell, a Malachi Moore, a Devontae Smith. You keep several guys on your defensive line. So that just speaks to those guys willing to get behind DeBoer and follow behind the vision. You're able to get a Ryan Williams to not just recommit, but to sign. And you keep quite a bit of this 2024 class to believe in what you are putting down to them in. We're going to put you in the best possible situations, not just to win a conference championship, but to pursue a national championship. DeBoer talked about it when he made his introductory press conference, Mark, back on January 13th. There was only one place he would have left Washington for, and that's the University of Alabama. So you got to give DeBoer a ton of credit for coming down here, maintaining the bulk of this 2024 class, but not just that, keeping the nucleus of the Alabama team together that Saban left behind.
Stephen, you covered a lot of this ground, but we want to certainly honor this super chat coming in from our guy, Jackson Johnson. Stephen, how do you feel about Kalen DeBoer so far? So you addressed the recruiting class. Obviously, they have yet to get punched in the mouth in the fall by any opponent. So that's when it really comes to fruition. But anything else, the way Kalen DeBoer has conducted himself that has leaned you in one direction?
I like him so far. And I like him so far because he is doing it his way. But most importantly, he has kept an open door policy to learn from Nick Saban. And he's talked about that a lot. Like Saban has an open door policy. I want to pick his brain. I want to learn from him. I want to glean as much knowledge as I possibly can from him. But on top of that, he was down there at Miramar Beach, Florida for the SEC spring meetings. And DeBoer was addressed a question about, what about a one-loss team? Could you think they can get into this 12-team playoff or a two-loss team? Can they get in? DeBoer said, look, we're not worried about that. We're trying to win every single game on the schedule, every single game on this agenda. We're taking every team for the significance that they have. We're not trying to focus on wiggle room. We're trying to get ourselves in that position where we're one of those teams that earns a first-round bye when you look at this college football playoff. So he's got the right mindset. He's got the coaching staff that's hungry to prove itself. And these players, they know it's been 3 years since Alabama has won a national championship, and they're hungry to get back there and finish the whole deal. So I'm really enjoying the motivation and the mindset that DeBoer has come in here with.
Non-Alabama fans, just soak up Stephen's last comment about national championship droughts.
Been 3 years. 3 years right there. And
With most even big schools, it's like, well, it's been 20 years. It's been 15 years. It's been 25. At Alabama, it's been 3 years. And consider in 2021.
It's been three, Mark, and it's driving the fan base absolutely nuts right now for some crazy reason. But DeBoer and this staff, they know the expectation. They know what's in front of them. And DeBoer wants to attack this, and he's excited about attacking this.
And to put it into further context, of course, that 2021 team was missing its two best wide receivers and still had a lead in the national championship game with 4 or 5 minutes left. And then the next year, they lost 2 one-point games. They kept them out of the playoff. And then, of course, this past year, they're playing an overtime game to get to the national championship game. So they are an eyelash away 3 consecutive years.
They were an eyelash away in 3 straight years. It's crazy to think about. College football, it's a game of inches. It's a game of inches. It's a game of eyelashes. It's a game of a couple of big plays that determine whether you win it all or whether you gotta wait the next year.